Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles market update. Today is the 2nd of October, 2024, and this is Gianni DePoce, your host. We're seeing stocks chop around near their highs. The NASDAQ has yet to make a new all-time high, but the Dow and the S&P recently have. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, and we can discuss what is taking place. We have a lot of Fed speakers this week. Jerome Powell spoke on Monday and said that the Fed was not in a rush to lower interest rates. And then obviously there was another eruption of geopolitical tensions, especially in the Middle East, that happened yesterday. Big port strike taking place in the United States right now across the eastern seaboard. So definitely a tense and volatile situation in many parts of the world. And you started off this week with Mars trine Saturn. Obviously today you have the solar eclipse in 10 degrees of Libra, which is certainly probably going to be impactful for this market. And then on Friday, we begin an important reversal period kicked off by Venus trine Saturn. Next week on the 8th, we have Venus trine Mars. And then on the 9th, a week from today, we have Jupiter going retrograde in Gemini, and it's going to start setting the tone for the second of 3 square passages between Jupiter and Saturn. We're in the central time band going into June 15th, 2025. And then next week, we have Pluto going direct, which means it's going to start heading back towards Aquarius, and it's going to be in the final days of its time in Capricorn. So, you are seeing the Dow 3 days off its all-time high. A bit of bearish divergence. The intermarket bearish divergence between the Dow and the NASDAQ remains a concern, but we are in the time band for a cyclical low of significance here in the NASDAQ, but also in the S&P. And if we start to see the NASDAQ outperform again, it would be a very good sign. So that's something to keep an eye on in terms of the sustainability of this stock market rally. We discussed at the investment retreat, Ray outlined the long-term outlook for stocks. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you want to know more. We talk more about short-term things here in these weekly videos, but near term, we are looking for a cyclical reset of the NASDAQ and potentially a continuation of the trend. You take a look at bonds here, TLT, big move down after a nice rally off of the low from last week. I think we're entering a sideways market. It's going to be interesting to see the geocosmic dynamics with Pluto going direct next week. Could be an important time for bonds, and especially with the ingress into Aquarius happening next month. I think that bonds could be on the precipice of an extended consolidation period. And what you're seeing now is actually a big rebound take place in the dollar, both against the yen and the euro. We discussed at the investment retreat how, we were in the time band for some long-term cycles in USD JPY, and we're seeing a big bid come out of this low. So that could be the long-term bottom. But, when you take a look at the euro here, I think what you need to watch the most on the long side is this low from September 11th. If that is taken out to the downside, it could mean that a high of significance is complete. And given that we have Venus trine Saturn on Friday and then Venus trine Mars next week, we're in an important time band for currencies. And I don't think you want to neglect what's happening there because, I've been talking about this through the context of interest rates and bonds. Now that we know the Fed is cutting rates, you can still buy short-term bonds and lock in, a 1 year interest rate that's probably going to be higher than interest rates are 6 months from now, right? So that means that those bonds are going to appreciate in value in the meantime. That's going to create an incentive for money around the world to come back into the US. So can't rule out a situation in the near term here where you have the dollar, bonds, and stocks all rallying together, and that could set up for a pretty interesting market environment, especially going into the intense geocosmics of next month. Let's take a look at gold and silver, chopping around gold near its all-time highs, getting late in some cycles there, but I think that some sideways action would be helpful. Silver looking a bit stronger here. We are well off the highs of the day, so we'll keep monitoring that. Silver is earlier in the cycle compared to gold, so can't rule out further upside there, but gold is maturing in some important cycles, so could see some upside prices capped in the near term. Take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. We still have Venus in Scorpio now, and that's been shown to display 20% or greater moves. We didn't quite get a 20% drop a little bit more than 9%, but looks like we may have another higher low on our hands, which would, in theory, reinforce the uptrend in Bitcoin. When it comes to Ethereum, still some technical improvements to be had. We need to see this high from the 24th of August exceeded to the upside in order to confirm a bull market in this space. But that's what we're looking at now. I did want to take a look at what's happening in China. You still are seeing Chinese stocks going parabolic. I'm going to zoom out here for context. It looks like a new bull market has begun. We outlined these details in the Shanghai monthly report, but also the special update that was sent out last week. This type of price action is very much indicative of the start of a new cycle. And, you take a look at the monthly chart here for FXI. China could very well be a really hot market again going into the next several months, as the weight of the evidence supports that a new long-term cycle has begun. So if China is in the early stages of a new long-term cycle, probably is going to bode well for the U.S. in the near term. The big question is how does the dollar fit into that equation? Geopolitical tensions, obviously, in the central time band for Jupiter square Saturn. You have a lot of stimulus taking place to try and offset. The stimulus is Jupiter. Saturn is the economic slowdown risk. So China's been dealing with that for a while, dealing with that in the U.S. here now as well. So, once we get out of the central time band, we may have a situation where inflation is back because we had to stimulate to avoid a recession. So that's what I think we need to keep an eye on. But that's all that I wanted to review with you this week. Thank you so much for watching. We will have the monthly cycles report coming out in 2 weeks' time, not next Monday, but the Monday after. But I'll give you an update on that next week. And we're going to be looking to have a nice new round of exciting guests here on the YouTube channel, and especially new graduates from the recently completed Merriman Market Timing Academy. We just finished MMTA 3 with the graduation ceremony in Lake Bled, Slovenia. So you're going to be meeting some of our new graduates here on the YouTube channel, interview them, and have them share a little bit about themselves so you can introduce them. They're going to be starting some new exciting projects here with us at MMA. So that's all for now, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.